Number 7. Skip it.
Larry Bird was one of the most fascinating college basketball players I ever saw play. Carl Nicks from Chicago played with Larry Bird on that team. Carl Nicks would come back in the summer and say, "You would not believe this cat I'm playing ball with."
Oh, that's a great pass!
He knew what was going to happen before it happened. Our game plan was to get the ball in his hands as much as possible, and he made good things happen.
Does he ever miss?
I thought he had the best hands of any kid I'd ever seen.
Oh, what a catch! Get a catch!
And he had a mind that I thought was like a camera, clicking a picture and passing on what to do.
He could create the play on the move, coming off the board. He could make the shot. He could play inside. He could play outside very effectively. And he had that competitive confidence that he was the one that was going to determine the outcome of the game.
He was called the Hick from French Lick. Then when they saw him play with an all-around brilliance and a snarling intensity, they said it with respect. Larry Bird was a folk hero at Indiana State, averaging 30 points and 13 boards and taking the Sycamores to the brink of the 1979 national championship.
I think that we were linked from then on, Larry Bird and myself. I got a chance to watch a guy who played just like myself.
I wanted to win. I wanted to do whatever it took, whether it was diving on a loose ball or whatever. I just played the game the way I feel everyone should play. I played hard.
Excitement, enthusiasm, greatness. That was Pete Maravich.
He did things on the court that nobody had ever done before, but he didn't do them to really show off. He did them because he gave him an advantage over the opposition.
Pete Maravich was a did-you-see-that entertainer, conjuring passes that logic and gravity said were impossible, and taking and making shots that geometry said you just couldn't do.
I went to the Georgia-LSU game in Athens, and he was incredible. I mean, it was like watching the Globetrotters. This guy could handle the ball and had such charisma that I think the Georgia fans were clapping more and excited about him than they were their own basketball team.
On a 3-on-2 break, he would take the ball and act like he was going to pass to this guy over here, and actually he would bring the ball and wrap it around his back and flip his wrist and hit the guy over here.
Pistol Pete, the perfect nickname for Pete Maravich, was a quick-draw genius who could rat-tat-tat you for 44 points, which just happened to be his career average at LSU. That's an NCAA record, one of many he still holds at a time when there was no three-point line, by the way.
Pete Maravich was probably, pound for pound, the greatest college basketball player ever.
Number 5.
Wilt Chamberlain's reputation coming out of high school was that he was so big and so overwhelming that nobody could ever deal with him on a basketball court.
There wasn't anybody else that big. We just couldn't figure out what to do. We just caught waiting for the game to be over.
Wilt Chamberlain was the redwood in the forest, as strong as the oak, as supple as the willow. Playing only 2 seasons at Kansas before joining the Harlem Globetrotters, he was an All-American for both years, averaging 30 points and 18 rebounds.
Well, how do you stop the guy? There's only one way to do it, with an axe. I mean, really, that's the way you can stop that guy. And turn-around jump shot, finger roll, jam.
Wilt was very skinny at that time, but he was maybe the greatest athlete of all the centers that's ever played the game because he broad jumped, he high jumped, he ran the 400 meters, and just an unbelievable athlete.
That's Wilt the Stilt in the pivot. He doesn't miss.
In 1957, Chamberlain and Kansas lost the national championship game to North Carolina in triple overtime, but he wanted to be known as more than Goliath.
He wanted you to know that he was a basketball player because he worked at the game. There was something to him other than a guy that could jump out of the building, and was a guy stronger than the earth, and a guy that was as quick and as fast as he was of his time and his era.
We've reached our final four, a trio of big men who hardly ever lost, and an entertainer who was magic before magic was magic.